Hello, Second Julia, and welcome to another Making Meaning lesson. This week we will be reading Insect Detective by Stephen Voake. But first, let's do some vocab words. So, our first vocab word is, teamwork. Teamwork. Teamwork means when you work together as a group to complete something. And this, they worked as a team to complete a robot. Teamwork. The second word is damp. Now, damp means a little bit wet. So this person is hanging up his damp clothes, his clothes that he just washed, and they're a little bit damp, so he's putting them up to dry. Next word, this card. Next one is regularly, which means you do it a lot and often the same way at the same time. This girl regularly brushes her teeth. And the last one is gleam. Gleam means to shine or glow. Gleam. All right, let's get started with Insect Detective. I have our discussion questions right here that we will stop when we get to them. So sorry about the lighting. Insect Detective. Right now, all around you, thousands of insects are doing strange and wonderful things. You can't always see them right away. Sometimes you have to know where to look. There are more insects living in the world than all the other animals to put together. About 200 million insects for every single person. Let me see if I can get this closer. 200 million insects per person. Listen, over by the fence. Can you hear a scratching sound? A wasp is scratching away at the post with her strong jaws. She is collecting wood. She mixes it into a soft pulp in her mouth. When she has enough, she will help the other wasps build a nest out of paper. Wasps often collect different kinds of wood, which makes their nests look stripy, just like the insects who made them. Not all kinds of wasps live together, but many of them do. Insects that live together are called social insects. I don't know about you, but growing up, we had a lot of wasps growing up, and their nests were always super stripy. Ants always live together. They usually make their nests underground. Finding an ant's nest is easy. First, find an ant, then follow it. It might stop to chat with some other ants along the way. Ants can communicate by touching their antennae together. See the little ants touching their antenna? But after a while, the ant will head home, and you will be able to find out where it lives. Like all insects, ants have three main body parts, which are the abdomen, the thorax, and the head. And we have come to our first stopping point. So, the first question, and these questions will also be posted on Schoology. The first discussion question is, what did you learn about social insects? Now, social insects are insects that live together. So, what are some things you learned about social insects? Solitary bees live by themselves. Solitary means alone. This female solitary bee is busy collecting food from spring flowers. She'll store them in her tiny nest so that it will be ready for when her eggs hatch. All insects start life as eggs. Solitary bees make their nests in holes in the ground, cracks in walls, or in tiny cavities that have been left by other insects. All right, next discussion question. What is something that you learned about solitary bees? Many insects like to many animals like to eat insects for dinner. So some insects use camouflage to blend in with their surroundings. Look at this crinkly brown leaf. Can you see a crinkly brown herald moth too? They often rest in trees during the day so that birds won't see them. Insects have other ways of hiding too. See the squiggly lines on the leaves? They were made by the leaf miner caterpillar. The leaf miner protects itself by living between the top and bottom layers of leaves, a bit like hiding between a sandwich or hiding in a sandwich. Lift up a stone and you might see an earwig scuttle out. They like to hide in the damp and the dark. The pincers on the top of their abdomens make them look kind of scary, but don't worry, they are completely harmless. Female earwigs are very good mothers. They work hard to keep their eggs clean, turning and washing them regularly. When the young hatch, their mothers bring them food until they're old enough to look after themselves. They are super good moms. I still don't like earwigs though. Of course, you might find some creatures under there that aren't insects. Spiders, centipedes, woodlice, slugs. And once I found a baby frog. It's easy to tell whether something is an insect or not. All you have to do is count the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it has 6 legs, it's an insect. If it doesn't, it isn't. So spiders have 8 legs, centipedes pretty sure have 10 legs, woodlice have more than 6 legs, and slugs have no legs. So if they don't have 6 legs, then they are not an insect. If you're lucky, you might even find a colored ground beetle gleaming in the sunlight. It's like discovering a precious jewel. But ground beetles aren't just pretty to look at, they are excellent hunters too. At night, they go out hunting for slugs and snails, which make gardeners very happy. Next talking point. What is one thing you learned about ground beetles? Again, this will be on Schoology, but you can pause me and answer it now. Perhaps the greatest insect hunter of all is the dragonfly. Even its name sounds fierce. But don't worry, they won't come chasing after you. Dragonflies are much more interested in catching things like flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. Some will even catch a spider from its web. On summer days when the air is still, you can see their wings sparkling in the light as they hunt, twisting, diving, and plucking flies from the air. Dragonflies are fabulous flyers. They have 2 sets of powerful wings, which they can use to hover, change directions, and even fly backwards. It's hard to believe that they started life in water. But dragonflies lay their eggs in pond or slow moving rivers, where they hatch out into small dragonfly nymphs. Dragonfly nymphs are young, wingless version of adult dragonflies. A nymph sheds its skin many times until it's fully grown. It climbs out of the water and rests on the stem of a plant. As dawn breaks, its skin splits open and a beautiful dragonfly emerges, unfolding its wing and drying itself in the sun. The changes that take place in insects' bodies are called metamorphosis. They happen in different ways as insect grows from eggs to adult. So, metamorphosis, yes, metamorphosis is when an insect changes, like when it goes from, like a caterpillar goes from egg to tiny little caterpillar to larger caterpillar. Sometimes when you think about these strange and wonderful things, moths hiding, ants talking, dragonflies changing, it's hard to believe that they could really be true. But you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is open the door and step outside. And that is the end of Insect Detective. So, my last question is kind of a two-parter. So, what is one thing that you learned from this book and one thing that you are still wondering about insects? You can say it out loud to me, you can write it down, or you can type it on Schoology. Thank you for listening.